What's up, guys? It's Gaz, and welcome to the Warframe video. So if you've been watching basically every video on the channel in the last month, you might have seen that I've been doing a video on each of the infested animal companions that have been coming out with Deimos. And we are finally on the last one today, and that's going to be the... what is this thing called again? The Medjay Predesite. And as you can see, his name is Hunting Sucks, because you have to do a lot of animal hunting to get all of these pets gilded. I think it's like 10 sun tokens per gilding of the pets. If you want to get the mastery out of them, you do need to gild them as well as level them up the first time. So, it is quite a bit of farming to get all those companions maxed out. What do you get for this one if you maxed out? Well, its two abilities are focused on finishers. So we've got Paralytic Spores, so we'll charge an enemy within 30 meters, dealing 160 damage, and releasing a spore that will stun the enemies within 16 meters for 3 seconds, leaving them open to finisher attacks. I think this has like a 10 or 15 second cooldown, and the dog will not always do this ability. So basically it charges at a random enemy, and it makes like an area of effect on the ground where if enemies are in there, they will be vulnerable to finishers afterwards. Finishers from you. The other ability this dog has is called Infectious Bite. It will basically charge at a specific enemy and hold on to them for like 3 seconds, and is doing a finisher attack while the enemy is held. So it deals okay damage, I guess. Not really, but kind of okay. Then after, if the enemy survives that finisher attack, they will get 4 spores on them, and those spores will take all the accumulated damage that is shot at the enemy or at the spores and release it on the enemy in a very, very, very small area of effect afterwards. So it's not really good, to be honest. It's not very good, but then again, none of these companions are good besides the Saren Cat. So we'll see how this goes. I've got the Iranon Antigen and the Leptostom Mutagen. This is basically just choices for mastery fodder right here. Alright, let's show how these abilities work in the Simulacrum, and we're also going to show some synergy. So like I said, it is a finisher-focused companion, so we have some synergy we can go with Savage Silence Augment Mod for Banshee. Increases finisher damage by 300% while Silence is active. It does also scale with Power Strength. So with this amount of Power Strength, we have 796% increased finisher damage, and it can go even higher, guys. You can get over 1,000%. I'm just not going max Power Strength on this setup. This also has Mark for Death. Since the companion will set enemies up for finishers, you can technically use Mark for Death with this. But, yeah. No. Just no. Alright, so let's summon in the enemies, and we'll show how these abilities work. I'm also going to go over how I would fix every companion in the Heart of Deimos update, because they all are pretty bad, besides the Saren Cat. So here's the... let's see what ability it's going to use first. Okay, there's the finisher cloud. You can't even see it. Now it's using the other attack. It jumps on this enemy. As you see, they created the spores. So it did both the attacks back to back there. We are using a dog stat stick right now, so it does not normally 10 stack viral. It usually does like 1 stack of viral. So let's use the third ability from Banshee. When you use the third ability from Banshee with the augment mod, it does enough finisher damage to kill them, which you might not even want because you know, if it doesn't kill them, it creates the spores. So let's see. It sets enemies up for finishers. We'll do Mark for Death here. Alright. Can I not... oh, okay. I guess Mark for Death will cancel out the finishers that thing creates. So, you know, we could just do that instead of waiting and watching our dog attack stuff. So, yeah, let's take off the dog. So, like, I just showed all the stuff that you can do to buff it up right there. Let's show it what it looks like without making the most ideal situation possible for it. Alright, we're going to take off the dog stat stick. If you've been watching our previous companion videos, Mecha Overdrive for Kubrowse is going to let you, basically, it takes the stash chance from your modded primary weapon and influences the dog stash chance of that. That's why you have 289% stash chance. We'll take that off. We'll put Bite in that slot instead for increased critical chance. And we're going to take off the dog stat stick just because. And we're not going to use our third ability from Banshee giving increased finisher damage. And you will see how it works on these 175 gunners. You know, let's make it level 50. You know what? It could one-shot them with Savage Silence. Let's see how it does in level 50s. I have not even tested this yet. Alright. Use operators to make sure the AI for the dog is not too stupid. Let's see how this goes. So it charged at the enemy. Some delayed finisher creation in the area. Now we'll hopefully attack a gunner so we can see how that damage looks. Alright, there we go. It's latching onto this one. And the level 50 gunner almost died. Now there you go. As I said, I took off the dog stat stick. We're only getting 1 viral proc now. We're not making everything look ideal here. Like, basically making it look better than it actually is with the dog, stat stick, and mecha overdrive. So, yeah, I definitely think this one could use a little bit of work, just like the other ones. And how I would do this, I would make it more focused on the spores that the dog creates with the finisher. Maybe make it where, see, as you see, the spores get expanded out as you shoot them. Maybe make it where the spores like make an area of effect explosion that's actually like noticeable when they explode. Make it basically like a viral bomb, viral explosion kind of companion. If you're gonna do finishers, I'd say basically guarantee it one-shots an enemy every couple of minutes, or not every couple of minutes, every couple of seconds, because it's single target just like all these other companions. And yeah, this spore finisher area thing, I'd say increase that. 16 meters definitely feels pretty small for some reason. I'd say up the duration of the finisher area to like 5 seconds. It's a 5-second stun in like a 25 meter range. And for the infectious bite, like I said, make the explosion of those spores actually noticeable. Make the explosion as big as the paralytic spores area is currently. So maybe a little bit smaller than that, like maybe like a 10 meter radius, like 12 meters, something like that. Make it actually impactful. So that's how I change this. Make it more AoE. Honestly, my reasoning for a lot of these companions to be better would be just making them AoE pretty much, because they're all single target. So let's go over all of them. I don't know if I gotta search Deimos. No, I can't, unfortunately. All right, let's do the Predesites. So we've got the one I just talked about, the finisher dog. Make it AoE. Make the finisher effect last for longer. The visored Predesite, which we did a video on previously. This one did a single target acid attack that would blind an enemy and basically had no stash chance to speak of, and a healing trail on the ground. I'd say make the healing trail on the ground, make it like by default affect healing or defense objectives. Also make the blinding attack have increased stash chance at base. Make it like a 50% stash chance at base. So if you are using a dog stat stick, you can get like 10 stacks of corrosive. If you're gonna keep it single target, which I think a blinding dog might need to be single target, I'd say maybe make it like 2 or 3 targets, or give it very, very high stash chance. So that one target that you hit with this is guaranteed to die if you hit it once, because it has 10 stacks of corrosive. If you mod it for like viral, can do viral and corrosive, like 10 stacks instantly, single target. I think that would be okay. And then the healing, just make the healing maybe a little bit more strong. And then for the Pharaoh Predesite, this is the one that's super bugged. Now this one I definitely think needs some range increases. The endoparasitic vector, like the Nidus larva thing, it's so tiny. It is really, really tiny. Make it basically a mini Nidus larva, but actually like pull enemies in. I'd say make it like Whiplash Mine for MOAs, but maybe not as big of range, because it is going to also provide you with viral procs as well. So like that would be great. And then the other ability, this one, it creates a fart cloud that gives you increased toxin damage. I'd say just make sure that that is a little bit more noticeable, and maybe increase the area of the toxin cloud just so it's, you're not just running past it. I feel like whenever I walk into this toxin cloud, it's because I did it on accident, or I'm in the Simulacrum trying to show what the abilities actually do, because you never actually see this cloud in mission. I think the amount of toxin is fine, but yeah, make it easier to see. And the Pharaoh dog could be really, really good if they buff it up. I definitely am holding out for this thing being really good in the future. And then for the Vulpaphilas, the Sarin Cat is totally fine. I'd say don't nerf it, just leave it the way it is. AoE viral procs everywhere. And of course, all these Vulpaphilas come back from the dead. You could definitely add something to the Predesites that makes them like maybe every 50 kills that the owner gets, it revives or something like that. It would be functionally invincible as long as you can kill 50 enemies. But like, yeah, these things just have a cooldown to come back to life, and I feel like the Predesites are very underpowered because they don't have any mechanics like that, especially since their abilities are very lackluster as well. So Sarin Cat, fine. Evasion Cat, or Evasion Fox, whatever you want to call it. I think that the amount might, like, honestly, like the percentage could use a buff. 40%, and you also, I'd say, yeah, make it so when you make it so you can keep evasion while you're attacking with weapons. You can keep evasion while attacking with abilities with this, but that just feels bad. It feels like you're forced to do like an unfortunate playstyle of like, oh, well, after I kill something, don't attack anything else, or I lose my buff. take away that restriction of whenever you kill something or attack something, you lose the evasion. And that, I think this will be a little bit more desirable. It's pretty okay on like a ability focused frame, but I don't think that it should be forced to be used on ability focused frames. And of course, the revival thing is great. Could definitely use something like that on the dogs. And then the Crescent Vulpaphyla, which I'm going to say is the worst companion of all. This one honestly could just use an entire rework, like a complete function rework. As you see, I took off Crescent Charge because Crescent Charge is probably the worst companion ability ever. It says it lasts for 8 seconds. It lasts more like for 3 or 4 seconds. And if that enemy has amplified damage on them, it really is not noticeable. So if you're going to make it that short duration... Actually, no, just make this AoE, honestly. Make it a charge that will like do the lifted status on like maybe like a maximum of like 4 or 5 enemies. And maybe make it do a forced knockdown. I don't... Honestly, just rework this one. This one is trash. It does literally nothing. It is the worst pet in the game. There it goes. Lasting for about 4 seconds of knockup. So, yeah, it's good at headbanging, I guess. So, yeah, just fully rework that one or really, really buff what it's doing because this is not helping anyone right now. And the cooldown sure seems pretty terrible, too. There you go again. It is not 8 seconds. False advertisement. I could literally just, like, you know, kill them with a melee in the time that cat even thinks about doing, like, one attack. So... Yep, guys, I'll talk to you next time. That was all my recommendations for the Deimos pets. I'd say if you are trying to get MR30, you're going to need to get them, at least at this current time. And D has not announced any plans of buffing these for the Deimos Arcana update. I really, really hope that they are thinking about it at least, because, I mean, these are, I've said in the previous videos, there is so much about the update that is, like, not really exciting, but these pets could be a step in the right direction. But they need some buffs to actually matter. So I'll talk to you guys next time. Take it easy. Peace.